Yes. So I think you were still introducing who you are to everyone.
Yes, so my name is Itika Oldwine, and I'm the owner of Oldvine Florals. I own a luxury floral boutique here in downtown LA.
Amazing. And what are you doing for us today?
Hello, who's saying hi, Itika? So Louis. Hello. I am going to design an arrangement that we are suggesting you can use for Father's Day. So, or use as an inspiration for a Father's Day gift. And it's actually something that we've sold to deliver this Father's Day on Sunday. So I'm not going
Oh,
to this one
amazing.
per se, but it's the exact same design that someone ordered for their father.
Amazing. And that's the thing, we were talking about how some people think that obviously you just think of flowers for Mother's Day or for your girlfriends, and like men like flowers too.
Yes, yes, they do. And it's also just honestly, it's a fun thing that you can do with the family, especially
Right.
now. I mean, I know the stay-home order has been somewhat lifted, but we're still quarantining or supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's also just a fun recreational thing you can do at home.
Awesome. Well, everyone, she's going to do the arrangement. I'm going to ask her a few questions, and please feel free to drop your questions in below if you are interested in ordering flowers, if you have questions just in general because you love flowers yourself, while we get the conversation going. So Itika, feel free to get on going and doing your thing.
Has the visual cleared up any, or is it?
No, not much, but it's okay. I mean, I think for the most part, it's clear to see the flowers, though. I think just your face is a little blurry.
Because my fiance slash assistant said I could get off Wi-Fi and see if it's better, but I don't know if you want to do all that.
It's up to you. If you think, I mean, we can try it. It's totally fine.
Yeah, I would want it to be clear for everyone.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. Do you want to take off Wi-Fi for a moment?
Yeah, I mean, so the interesting thing is it's very clear from my end. So I can't see how, I just don't, I want it to be like a good experience. So if it's a experience, then, but it looks very clear from here. So that's where I'm.
Yeah, so no, it's still blurry.
Okay. So I'm so sorry, everyone that logged in. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
I'm just gonna log off the Wi-Fi.
Okay, no worries. We'll hang. Right. Hopefully, everyone's sorry. If you can just hang on, it'll be like a few more minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it'll just be a few more minutes. If anyone wants to join and come on live with me while we wait, I am more than happy. We can talk about whatever you want. I guess just send me a request if you want to. Or you can just watch me, which is kind of boring to watch. Oh, we got a request.
Oh my goodness.
Hi, Natalie.
We're at the winery.
Oh my God. Okay, this is great. So for people that are joining, Itika is just fixing her Wi-Fi, and she will be back to show us a floral arrangement. But one of the ALDB team members actually is at a winery that her partner is actually a wine connoisseur. Is that how do you say it?
He's getting his sommelier, but
sommelier.
Yeah, he manages the winery right now.
Okay. Oh, you know what?
Too loud. Is she back?
Okay. Yeah, she's back.
All right, good to see everyone.
Okay, thanks, Natalie. Bye. Alrighty, thanks everyone. 1 second. Okay. She's back. She's back. Thanks for that, Natalie. Okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's 10 times better.
Yay!
Oh my God. I'm happy we did that. It would have been, see, sometimes it's like you wait a few minutes for something amazing, you know?
Yes.
We're just in such like a go.
Like, we are not going to mess this up. It has to be a good experience.
Yeah, no, this is so, oh my God, it's so clear. My God. Yay. And we're going to miss your beautiful face? No, not happening.
Awesome. I'm so glad we did that. I'm so sorry. It's totally, we are downtown LA. It's a historic neighborhood. When we moved into this space, there was no internet. Like, whoever had the space before us did not have Wi-Fi in like 2000s.
Yeah. No, I totally get it, but I mean, it's beautiful. And at the end of this, we have to see the space because, you know, ALDB definitely wants to do an event where she will teach us how to make our own floral arrangement. So, of course, that'll take place when events are clear to happen and it's safe. But, you know, it'll be great to get a teaser. So, yes, please go ahead and do your thing.
Okay.
We are just going.
So let me know how much you want me to chime in about the types of flowers I'm using or how I'm designing, or I can just.
Yeah, can you actually start off with that right now?
Yes, absolutely. So I usually know exactly what type of roses I have to. Okay, I know what these are called. Okay, I was like, these are called country home. So there are literally, I would say, thousands of different types of roses with different names from different growers from all over the world. And so there are certain roses that I use all the time, and there are certain roses that I've never used before. So I've never used country home, but I liked them. The petals on these roses, it's like lots and lots and lots of petals.
They're so pretty. They're
so
so
when
pretty.
it opens up, it's going to be just gorgeous, like a garden rose.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm using country home roses, Lizzie-anthus. Lizzie-anthus are just these really nice, delicate filler flowers. A lot of the time, most arrangements won't feature Lizzie-anthus, but you'll use Lizzie-anthus to help support the featured flower. And in this case, the featured flower is the country home rose. So I'm also going to include in my arrangement these silver dollar eucalyptus. So.
Oh wow. Okay.
Eucalyptus. I'm so sorry. The other thing I was going to add, I thought everything was right next to me, but it's like right here.
Oh no, yeah, you're good. I'm looking at looking at all these candles.
I know. I've been collecting candles from events. It's like my thing. And then I have these orange tulips. So I really just like the way that, and then I'll kind of lift it up so everybody can see, like this recipe.
Wow. Oh my God. They're so pretty.
It'll be nice. And then we're using, this is a 12-inch tall vase, white ceramic, and it's 5 inches around. And I've just put chicken wire inside of the vase that I use to keep the stems in place when I poke the stems inside. And then I filled it about 3/4 of the way with water.
And where do you get most of your vases or vases from? Where do you get them from?
So I usually shop just in the flower district. There are 3 stores specifically that I go to buy vases. One is called Moscatel's.
Yes.
And Moscatel's is like Michael's, but for florists. So it's actually Michael's doing business. Moscatel's doing business as Michael's, or Michael's doing business as Moscatel's. I don't know which way.
Michael's owns them, which is amazing.
Michael's owns Moscatel's. Yeah. So I go to Moscatel's. I also go to a store called GM. So I get a lot of flowers from GM. And then Floral Supply Syndicate. So those are the 3, kind of between those 3, I'll find.
I'm going to write that down. Okay.
I'm just going to grab my trash bin and bring it.
Okay, no, you're good. You're good. Take your time. So are those pretty much like, what are the tools that you even make sure you have to like get the flower arrangements even going? It seems like clearly you need a trash bin, you need a vase, you need the flowers. You need clippers.
You need clippers. So I have my clippers. These are my clippers. They're kind of worn a little bit, but they're perfect.
Yeah.
And I use these to clip the stems. And then I also have this tool, and I use this tool to clean the leaves off the rose. So I'll just show you, because for the most part, I'm going to clean over the trash bin.
Okay.
But just take this tool, and I start like this, and then it
wow. That's so much easier. Okay. Okay.
It's so much easier, and you don't get pricked because there are so many thorns.
Yeah.
So you're essentially cleaning the thorns off.
Oh, where'd you get that from? Is that like Home Depot or?
Moscatels,
Dang, okay.
GM, Floral Syndicate, Amazon. I think we ordered these off Amazon because we needed a few and we just had time, and so yeah.
Right. Awesome. Okay. Amazing. And then, so yeah, go ahead and do your thing. I mean, how do you even know how you want to place them, and how do you go about that?
Basically, when I design, I think about if I want something that's kind of like full and a little loose, or if I want something that's tight and compact. I also think about if I want a single type of flower, like all roses, all hydrangea, all lilies, or if I want, or all tulips, or if I want something that's a mix, and then mixing up the colors. So a lot of it goes, and a lot of thought goes into it before I start designing. Like I pretty much know what I want it to look like, and then buy according to that.
Okay.
So today I'm looking for something, because it's for a man. I'm looking for something that's that's not like compact and lush, like maybe you would see at a wedding, right? I don't necessarily want that feel. I'm also making sure I'm going to use like greens, because it just feels a little more rustic.
Yeah, no, I love it. And it gives it like that full voluminous look, and like make you feel like you're in the forest, which I guess is, men like that stuff. So
something like that, right? That's how I came to get my recipe together. So
yeah. Okay.
And then the way that I design, it just depends on the recipe. So I usually start with today I'm trying to think if I want to start. I think I'm going to start with roses, because I want it to be a very rose forward arrangement.
Okay.
And I'm going to start putting things within the design, rather than grab a rose, grab eucalyptus, grab a tulip. I usually do one ingredient at a time, and then add the other, and then at the end, like fill in where I think things are missing, or where I wish I could see a pop of this color or this texture or something like that.
Okay, amazing. Well, by the way, one of the audience members, one of my team members, said their boyfriend is loving it so far, loving the arrangement. So I think it's male approved. So as far as it seems like, obviously, like you took off some of the stems. Do you leave some of them on there, or how do you?
Yeah. So for this, I'll show you. So for this, rose, I kept that top stem on there, right?
Yeah.
Or the leaf. And I kept that there because I'm going to make sure that there's some greenery around kind of edges. Before I put the rose in the vase, these are called guard petals. And if you can see, they're green. So I'm going to take these guard petals off, because I want to just get that really pink color.
Oh, okay.
And then I just cut about 3 inches from the bottom.
Okay.
And I'm going to poke this in here, and I'm going to just let that green hang out just like that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I'm going to kind of design. Usually I design more so like in a row. So I do like a first row around, and then some in the middle, and then I start adding other things.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so while you do that, can you give us the background to how did you even get into, doing this and opening up your own business? I feel like there's so many, I don't know if this is a predominantly white space or not. So, I mean, obviously with you being, like a Black woman, and you owning your own floral shop downtown, which I wish that I knew about this earlier, the amount of floral arrangements that I have ordered for different executives that I've worked for. Like, you would have been the go-to person. So,
I know. Well, we luckily have been able to gain a lot of corporate clients. So it's been a true blessing, to be honest, in the midst of this storm. With the Black Lives Matter movement being something that's being taken on and taken more seriously. We have a lot of corporate clients that want to support Black business.
That's amazing.
And even before we had corporate clients, but it's really become something I think we all know that they're trying to get it in front of.
Exactly.
So
that's
been a bit of a silver lining. And I mean, I'm happy that there, you know, a lot of these corporations are really attempting to diversify their vendors.
Yeah. And for all of you that, you know, can add her to your corporate list, just go ahead and type her in at the top, you know, go ahead and put it there, Oldvine Florals, and just add it to the top.
Yes.
So how did you get your start though? What have you been doing this for forever, or how did it come about?
So essentially I am a marketer.
Okay.
And I started my career in flowers by leading the marketing for a very prestigious florist here in Los Angeles. His name is Eric Buterbaugh, and he was the in-house florist for the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills for 20 years.
Wow.
But when I joined his team, he really didn't have any social media. His website wasn't live, and he was launching a perfume line. So he was just kind of stepping away from his flower business to focus on his perfume line. And I was brought on to create social media, create a website, and kind of bring him into, like, I guess the 21st century, right? So, so when I did that, that was my entree into the world of flowers, because I had never worked for a flower business. I mean, I had stepped into a florist a few times. Like, my grandmother bought flowers for her coffee table every weekend, and obviously we all go to Trader Joe's and like look at the flowers before
right.
But I really didn't have any experience whatsoever when I joined this team outside of my, you know, I was a marketer, so I always think about that and just am glad that, you know, God put me there to show me, you know, what I could become, or, you know, a business owner.
Did doing that basically inspire you to doing it now, like stepping away from the marketing and just doing floral arrangements and running the business? How was that transition?
So essentially, once I became his marketer and he started launching his other line of his perfumery line, I started working more on other parts of the business. So instead of just like doing social media and working on his website, I was answering calls and taking orders. And then it got to a point where I was taking orders and people were like, well, what should I send my mom? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I just picked up the phone because nobody else could. Everyone's busy. Right. And then I was basically told, because it was a small business, that we all had to pitch in and do whatever was needed. So if that means that someone's calling and you're taking an order and they need to know what's your suggestion to send their mom, like, you need to have something to say.
Right.
To be honest, I had nothing to say. I wasn't in the know about flowers. So you know, roses, because it sounds like something that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And so then I went from like picking up the phone as needed to like full on taking orders, and then not only taking orders for clients who just called in, but also he had some really high end clients. So I found myself servicing the who's who of Hollywood, and
That's okay.
So it became a market that I was being introduced to, and I didn't even know that it was something that existed, right? So I'm talking to Alexander McQueen's assistant, or the assistant of Alexander McQueen, or I'm talking to Demi Moore's assistant, or Nicole Richie's assistant, and they want flowers. So then I'm like, okay, I hope I don't mess this up. And then it turns out that I'm just taking the orders. So I'm like, okay, well, it's not too much pressure. It's up to the designers to make it beautiful, you know?
Right.
And that's where I grew an appreciation for floral design. just really
Wow.
working with, he had, I mean, the best designers ever, like the best. And he had them all in his shop, and they were just producing some really amazing, beautiful arrangements for, high society LA, if you will.
Yes.
All the ladies at lunch, all the celebs,
Right.
all the it girls. And then I started doing events for him because his event, I think his event coordinator was transitioning and left. And so then it was like, we need to hire someone, but we don't have anyone yet. Can you take over events? So then I'm like, how? Like, I don't do it. I didn't do events at the time. I worked for AEG, which is Angeles Entertainment Group, where, the Sparks are, and the Lakers and the Clippers and all those guys. And I've been marketing there. So I knew operations and the things that went into doing events, but I didn't know anything about doing flowers for events. Like putting up a flower wall.
Which is an entirely different ball game.
Which is an absolutely different ball game. But I just got thrown in there. And what I love is that, and I try to tell people, if you have the courage to try, if someone's giving you an opportunity or asking you to do a task, right? Because at the time, I might not have seen it as an opportunity. I more so saw it as like something that you're asking me to do. But you'd be amazed at what you can learn from being open-minded and just kind of diving in.
Yeah, I'm literally writing that as like a quote from you. That's great. No, you're right. Because sometimes, obviously, life will present you with opportunities, and they may be like you may be, afraid to jump in because you're like, well, I'm not qualified and I can't do this. And when the whole time you're like, oh, wow, actually, I am qualified. I have good instincts about this. I have been doing X, Y, and Z. And at the end of the day, everything is learnable. So, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. So, like, what inspires you as far as like flower arrangements even go? Like, say if I was one of your clients and I came to you and I'm like, I don't care what you do. The colors for my event are like, I don't know, baby pink and white or whatever. So, I mean, like, what will inspire you as far as like the type of flower, like how big, how small, etc.?
It's a little bit of everything, right? So first of all, there's trends. So what's in now? Like what we do for baby showers in 2020 is nothing like they did probably 5 years ago.
Right.
I mean, it's a whole nother thing.
Right.
So I do look at trends. I'm like, what are people doing? And a lot of the trends are greenery. So, we look at, I ask, like, well, do you want greens? And some people are like, no greens, all white, or, pink if it's a girl.
Yeah.
And then I also like to ask my clients what they like, right? So I might have some ideas, but there are so many flower lovers out there who are hiring me and spending their money, but they want a certain thing as a result. So I always go to like, is there anything you like? Is there anything you love? Send some inspo pics. So it's a lot of just conversations before we really get to, I think, the design of it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do most people
are very particular, especially with things,
go ahead.
Especially with things like Pinterest.
Yeah.
I was just saying, people are very particular now, especially with things like Pinterest, because they're able to see and get ideas. And then, Instagram, they see what other people are doing. And so they want to make sure that they're popping. And, and I'm the designer. And if you're going to add me, I want to make sure that I'm popping. So it's like such a interesting space to be in.
Right. What's the most difficult, I guess, like, what's the most difficult floral job that you've had? Like, you said that you've done these events. So is there like a time where there was a wedding that required you to do like the archery and all of the cocktail tables and on the aisleway? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I think there have been a few that have been trying. I think in the beginning, flower walls were really difficult for us because we just didn't have So the designer that I work for, the florist I work for, where I learned most of my techniques from when it comes to like putting flowers in vases, he didn't do a lot of like flower walls. I don't know if he did a flower, I don't recall him doing a flower wall. And he didn't do a lot of weddings. So my experience from him was great, but I had a lot to learn when it came to big installations and major events like weddings. People love weddings. I mean, people have to have flowers at their wedding, so it's like kind of a requirement. But I think because he was quite pricey, a lot of people just didn't use him for weddings, and I don't think he cared to use him, so we just didn't get a lot of weddings. But you know, between doing large events like weddings, to be honest, my first wedding, the bride called me and she's like, one of my bridesmaids doesn't have a bouquet. And I'm like, well, how's that work? Well, we sit. And so it was like totally my fault. Wait, I'm just reading what someone says. Do you go to the flower market in DT? If so, how often do you go and what time do you usually get there? Do you mind if I answer that?
No, not at all.
Okay. So yes, I go to the flower market in downtown LA. It's actually 2 blocks away. So I'm on 7th and between Spring and Main, and the flower market is on 7th, and it goes from Maple and Wall to San Julian. So I go every day. I get fresh flowers for my orders every day. And what time do I usually go? Okay, I have to be honest. I am not an early riser. So
at least you're aware.
I'm just terrible. I want to be, I try to be, I aspire to be.
Right.
So I put my order in the night before, generally. And the guys at the Flower Mart, the 2 places that I frequent the most, that I pre-order from, essentially, they get my stuff together for me. And then they do open at 4. They open at 4, but I wouldn't say get there at 4. Get there closer if you're an early riser to 5.
What?
Yeah,
I think that I'm not going there at 5. The earliest I've been to the flower market is 7 a.m. And the question you're answering is actually one of my team members, Natalie. So for our events, I've gone at 7. 5? Are you joking?
So the first time I went to the Flower Mart, when I was with Eric, my colleague set up this tour. Like, we're going to do a tour of the Flower Mart, because she nor I had ever worked in a flower business, so we wanted to really get the experience. She's like, we're going to go to the Flower Mart. Okay. And so I'm like, okay, what time? And she said 4. And so I was like, okay. I literally sleepwalked through that entire experience. I was like sleep. Like I was not awoke. I wasn't present.
Like, I mean, I don't even think coffee places are open that early.
They're not. They're not. You have to do your own special brew at home.
But I mean, of course, like, can you explain why people? Because, like, even when I went at 7, it's extremely crowded. There's a ton of people. So can you explain why people do go that early, though?
Yeah, so bigger shops, like my shop is a small shop, to be honest. But bigger shops definitely need to crank out their arrangements early. If you're sending out birthday arrangements, no one wants to get their, I mean, some people get their birthday arrangements at, 3, 4, 5. But for the most part, you want to get someone's birthday arrangement there early. So we get a lot of requests for AM deliveries. So if you can make it the night before, that's great. But if you're going to make it the same day, you might have to get there early, depending on how many AM deliveries you have, right? If you're a bigger shop.
Right.
My size shop, I can usually manage my AM deliveries and get there. And that's when I do have to get there like at 6.
Okay.
Also, a lot of people are traveling to the Flower Mart in Los Angeles and going back to places like Santa Barbara, Fresno, Palm Springs, because no Flower Mart out there. It's here. So Yeah, so they're driving here, they're shopping, and mind you, buying flowers takes some time because you should look at the flowers, you should examine the stems before you select. And so you get there, and then you still have to look over what you're buying, because once you're out of there, you get in your truck and you're back in Santa Barbara. You know, it's going to be some problems if the stuff doesn't look the way you need it to look.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it is definitely one of those types of industries that getting there early in a lot of ways is necessary.
Was that pretty much why you even chose downtown to be your shop's location? You know, because it's obviously super close. Because I know there's a lot of like floral shops that are in like Beverly Hills and, you know, Gardena, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So was that like your thought process as well?
Yes, it was. It also, I'm a downtowner. I love downtown LA. I've been living here since 2012.
Okay.
And so, yeah,
I'm gonna be your neighbor in 2 weeks. I'm moving to downtown. Yeah.
You'll love it.
Yeah.
So when I moved to downtown LA in 2012, I wasn't in the flower business, so it was definitely. I moved here when I started working for AEG, but when I started doing the work with Eric and working with flowers, I started thinking about places where, you know, when I decided that I was going to do this and venture out on my own and open my own floral business, I started thinking about places where I would be located, and it just made perfect sense. I'm like, I live downtown. The flower mart is downtown. Where I buy bases from is downtown.
Yep.
Downtown to me is such a developing neighborhood.
Yep.
And if you can swing it, if you can, you know, hang, because it's not for everyone, I understand.
Yeah.
You know, it's a really fun place to live and to work. And I decided I wanted to be a part of the downtown LA community and open my business in downtown.
Yeah. Yeah. That's incredible. So, I mean, let us know, what are your favorite flowers? Like, which ones? Mine's are roses. What are yours?
Roses, and did you say one other?
For me, just roses. Like, those are my favorite. But what are yours, though?
You know what? Roses are my favorite, too. I have to say, I love roses. They're so hardy. Like, I love that they're, like, strong. They come in so many different varieties, so many different colors. Some are fragrant, some are not so fragrant, but the fragrant roses smell so delicious. And they're long lasting, essentially.
Yeah.
Some flowers are not as long lasting, and some flowers are more long lasting, but essentially they're long lasting. I just have to ask my partner a question. Babe, can you?
Oh, yeah, you
can. I'm trying to avoid all Teddy Riley moments, so I can't let my phone.
No, you're good. You're good.
I already.
No. This is a judgment-free zone. It's like, you know, it's all good. It's all good. Like, we're all figuring it out. Like,
difficulties.
I've had so many that's exactly what I was saying. I was like, you know, she's just having some technical difficulties. We'll be on soon. It's all good.
Honestly, it really was the Wi-Fi. It was truly the Wi-Fi.
It's just you can only control so much. You know what I mean? We can only control so much. But that actually segues into you. I know you are recently engaged. Congratulations on that. So who's gonna do your florals? Oh yes, please show the ring.
I'm gonna just go off a little bit.
Yes.
So
I am aspiring to be there.
You did a good job. I'm gonna hire my team. We have a really good team of designers. That are very excited about doing our wedding flowers. So
amazing.
I just gotta figure out what I want for my wedding. It's, you know, doing other people's weddings, you just do what they tell you to do, and obviously, thank you. She said congratulations. Thank you. Obviously, you want to make it beautiful, right? But when it's your wedding, that's when it becomes like OMG, you know. And then I think there is a level of expectation. So now I'm like, I can't disappoint anybody.
Right.
And not have flowers.
Natalie is asking, do you have a videographer?
Oh, you're so sweet. You know what? We are always looking for new talent. So please be in touch.
Okay. Yeah, you should. She does all of our videos and the droning and everything. She makes it look so, take it to the next level. So for sure. So can you talk about some of your clientele? I mean, you've literally worked with Common, you've worked, you've done arrangements for Alicia Keys, you worked with Gabrielle Union. Like, I mean, what? Like, how, you know what I mean? Like, how did that happen? Like, those are what so many, florists like desire to be able to work with people like that. So how do you really go about building your clientele?
You know what? It's really about relationships, right? And that's with everything.
Yep.
So what I found is once we got like one celebrity client, say for instance, Oprah, right? I worked for
you worked with Oprah?
Yeah. So I worked with Oprah Winfrey Show for like 12 years, right? Maybe between 10 and 12, all years. But I started as an intern, and then I stayed until the show ended in 2011. Amazing. And so when I came to Los Angeles, I was part of a group called, I used to work at Harpo. So Oprah's company, her production company is called Harpo Productions. So I went I used to work at Harpo Group, and I told everyone, hey guys, for all my, LA-based folks, Chella was there with me as well. I'm opening my own flower business in LA. If you guys ever need flowers, let me know. And we were hired by OWN to do the Queen Sugar season finale, like season 2 finale flowers. So it really is about relationships. So we acquired Jay-Z and Beyonce, and then since then they would refer us to Alicia Keys, or we have friends with a lot of stylists, so they would send flowers to, say, Gabrielle Union or Taraji P. Henson. Wow. And then they would see that we did the flowers. It's really about word of mouth.
Yeah.
100%.
Wow.
So if I can tell anyone anything, especially in this city where, there are a lot of opportunities. Sorry, downtown.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. We can hear you. You're good.
Okay. There are a lot of opportunities to really get your work in front of some really influential people. And if those people love you or love what you do, you can work with their friends, etc. And yes, we did do the Queen Sugar season.
Yeah, Shell was like, wait a minute, what?
Like, I didn't know that.
I love that. No, that's so real. It's really important to, I mean, I even met you through Chella, so it's really important to nurture those relationships and, build genuine relationships, because then people genuinely want to connect great people together and everyone just help everyone out. So that's amazing that you were able to, create such magic for them to where they wanted you to create it for, all of their friends, etc.
It's definitely it's a stamp of approval, and it's flattering, and it kind of is a reinforcer, especially for someone like me who is venturing into something new and starting my own business. It really did give me a lot of confidence.
Yeah. So how is it with being an entrepreneur? Like, obviously there's so many ups and so many downs and, so many learning lessons. What advice do you have for people that are entrepreneurs and want to start something?
What advice? So I would say to try to be as fearless as possible. A lot of friends that I have who are also entrepreneurs who maybe haven't been able to take those certain leaps in their business, I think it is because a lot of times we all have these fears, right? We just do. It's just these little voices. And I'm always encouraging them to just try to shut those voices down and to not let those voices control your decisions, because if they do, so much time will go by and you'll be so afraid, and the next thing you know, you're like, wait, I didn't do this or I didn't do that because I didn't take that leap.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say to be fearless. The other thing I like to say is progress over perfection.
Yeah.
So many of us are always, I have to I like things the way I like them. I can be a little controlling at times, but I'm not a perfectionist because my grandmother used to always say only God is perfect. And I think she said that to us enough where it was like, don't aspire to be perfect. Only God is perfect, right? Do your best. And oftentimes your best is really, really, really good. So I would also say progress over perfection, because if you're trying to get something perfect before you get it off the ground, you may not ever get it off the ground. It might not ever get to perfect. So I would say be fearless and progress over perfection. Those are my two.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. And even when, if things don't go as planned, I feel like, was it the consistency that kept you going, like still trying and never giving up?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm also very optimistic.
Yeah.
And I think I'm optimistic because I had to be optimistic in life, like to get out of, the way I grew up in a very working class community where everyone didn't go to college, everyone didn't, have the best life. And I, though, knew that that's what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And so I think that level of just optimism, just knowing that it's going to be okay and you're going to get through this hurdle and that hurdle, and never trying, just trying really hard not to fall into any type of pessimistic or fearful thoughts, because that's all energy,
Yeah.
And then that you're bringing that type of energy into your business, and that's a no-go. You have to just pour nothing but positive thoughts into your baby. Your business is your baby, so treat it and talk to it and love it just like you would a little baby.
Wow, I really love that, actually. Even though, and I've heard that before, obviously, your business is your baby, the things you create is your baby. But you're right, though. If you would never say anything negative to your baby, it's kind of, I think, even when your kids are learning how to walk or whatever, you're gonna do whatever you can to encourage them, to let them know they can do it. You're not gonna be like, well, you kind of failed yesterday, so
exactly.
I guess you're just never gonna walk.
Exactly. And it's really unfortunate because it's really the type of conversations you're having with yourself, right? And what you allow yourself to say to yourself. I don't allow myself to say anything negative to myself. I'm not walking around Itika, you're so stupid, or Itika, you're so dumb, or Itika, why'd you do that? I'm like, Itika, now I'm like, we over here like this. What you over there doing? I'm not right. I'm sassy with Itika. I'm not shading Itika, or putting Itika down. Even when she messes up, I'm like, you knew, so it's really, how are you talking to yourself?
Right. I love that. Okay, yes, Natalie is directing us. She's like, these flowers look great. We want to see. Yay. Oh my God.
So I just, kept, as I said, I kind of go from the outside and come in. And so we have those beautiful country home roses with these nice, filled in with these nice lisianthus. The silver dollar eucalyptus is just poking out there. You have these orange tulips, right, that look really great next to these country home. I love that. And I usually do it so there's no front or back. It's just like a round moment, so you can have it as a centerpiece in the middle of the room, or when you give someone and you don't know what their home looks like, it's nice to just keep it really nice all the way around.
They're so
right now. I'm just kind of filling in, so I'm pretty much done.
Okay.
Then, which doesn't mean we have to stop, but I just wanted to let you know. Which means I'm just kind of poking in, and eventually you can't poke anything else in. If you you're like, so I'm also kind of reaching that place, but we'll see what happens.
I was just about to ask, how do you know when you're done?
Yeah, I mean, it's really your eye, but also a lot of times the vase will tell you, you can't put nothing else in. So just put everything away, or you'll run out of flowers, and then you're like, okay, well, I think we're done. Or like today,
Oh.
I kind of ran out of flowers before I was done, and I was like, "Oh my god, I don't want to go back to the flower market." And then I like found some flowers that I could add. So yeah, it's all every arrangement is different.
Someone from they asked, do you have employees? How do you manage the business?
So we all know we've been going through this terrible pandemic. So currently, I do not have any full-time employees. And before the pandemic started, we didn't have any full-time employees, but I had very regular freelance workers. And so my freelance workers helped with all of my major events and my weddings, and we did quite a few events. So we did, I would say, at least one event a week. And by event, I mean it could either be a large dinner party, or it could be a wedding, or it could be a premiere.
Oh, I love that.
And I obviously needed help designing, delivering, striking, buying flowers. So I hire freelancers weekly, and we never really got to the point where we were we hired full time. I wanted to get there, but because I know how to design and I don't mind doing it, and I live very close to my flower shop, so I'm here all the time.
Yep.
I just would do the daily stuff.
I love that.
I would do daily stuff on my own.
Yeah. I love that. Well, we do have a few minutes left before IG kicks us off. It's so funny. Someone said, you made that look too easy. Can I ask a question? Is there a wrong or a right way to arrange flowers? My mama always starts with the fillers first. Good question.
So yeah, it's really not a wrong or a right. I did not start with my fillers. I started with my roses, which were the focal point of this arrangement. I don't start with fillers because I personally don't like to go overboard with fillers. That's just my thing. I want to make sure that I give you more of the focal floral. So I feel like sometimes when you start with the filler and then you're adding the focal floral, it becomes more greenery. Say if greenery is your filler, then it does rose. And I really, I don't really like that for me. So I generally start with the focal flower, and then I kind of feed other flowers in. And I generally do like one flower at a time. So I started with the roses, then I brought in the tulips, then I think I then decided to bring in the silver dollar eucalyptus, and then kind of finish off with the lisianthus.
Okay.
The other thing is think about how strong your stems are. So when you start with the roses, like I did, that's fine. But roses also have very strong stems.
Yeah.
So it goes in, okay, and the stems are kind of thick. Then as I put my roses in, I decided to use the tulips as my second flower to join the vase, because tulip stems, they're thick, but they're kind of wobbly. They're not like a rose stem that's really kind of strong and sturdy.
Yeah.
The tulip stem is kind of wobbly. So rather than break the stem trying to squeeze it in right now when we're nice and full, I decided to do it second. And then as I put the tulips in, I was kind of seeing some greenery. So then I went with my silver dollar eucalyptus. But what's good about the eucalyptus and adding it as a third ingredient is because the eucalyptus stem is really strong, but it's slender.